This is a sample of the information provided as part of the flexible training resources available through HACCP.com. Our training courses are designed to provide training participants with an understanding of food safety and quality system elements and also offer user-friendly assessment activities and competency checklists to complete the training cycle. Key definitions for equipment design and construction standards. Equipment, machinery, apparatus, components and any other articles intended for use in a food business. Equipment design and construction standards development. When considering the development, documentation and implementation of equipment design and construction standards within food safety and quality management systems, the following information should be considered to ensure effective outcomes. About equipment design and construction standards. Specification, commissioning and validation of equipment. Reducing risk by engineering it out. Equipment maintenance. About equipment design and construction standards. Equipment used within the food sector must be suitably constructed and maintained to ensure it doesn't contribute to the production or unsafe foods. General requirements for food equipment include construction from materials that are impervious and resistant to corrosion or breakdown. Food contact surfaces that are smooth and impervious to facilitate appropriate levels of cleaning and sanitation whilst avoiding foreign object risk. Appropriate standards of welding and fabrication for metal or alloy fittings and fixtures. Compliance with legal requirements where applicable. Avoidance of operational chemicals such as equipment lubricants that may introduce risk. Specification, commissioning and validation of equipment. When choosing a piece of equipment for use within the food sector, the following specification, commissioning and validation elements should be considered and recorded to achieve best practice outcomes for all new, existing or refurbished equipment items. The specification, commissioning and validation of equipment for the food sector should be conducted and recorded to cover legal compliance, industry compliance, food safety and quality standard compliance. Requires alterations or tailored commissioning. Construction of suitable materials including contrasting colored risk materials. Verified composition of materials such as stainless steel by grade. Suitability and risk assessment of associated chemicals including food-grade lubricants. Requirements for cleaning and sanitation including prescribed cleaning methods or chemicals for use. Suitability for use within specific environments such as within wet or humid environments. Workplace health and safety compliance. Operational capability for food safety. Operational capability for food quality. Operational capability against capacity. Anticipated life cycle and longevity. The specification, commissioning and validation of equipment for the food sector should be conducted by a multidisciplinary team to ensure the highest level of outcomes. Reducing risk by engineering it out. In many cases, new, existing or refurbished equipment may require the adoption of risk reduction strategies to reduce the risk of such equipment contributing to the production of unsafe foods. For example, if a piece of equipment were to include hard plastic fixtures or fittings that could be replaced with another material such as stainless steel, this would be of benefit by removing such hazard plastic risk. Similarly, if hard plastic fixtures or fittings were required for the safe operation of such equipment, the hard plastic fixtures or fittings could be protected by stainless steel guarding or framing to significantly reduce the risk of breakage. Where equipment meets premises. Where equipment meets the premises, for example at a through-wall fixture where a conveyor belt transits from a low-risk to a high-risk or high-care area, such equipment should be positioned and/or movable so as to facilitate required cleaning and sanitation tasks. Similarly, where equipment can't be positioned and/or movable within its position, it should be appropriately sealed and maintained to prevent the buildup of food residue. In this case, sealings between the premises and the equipment should be to the same standard as for the general premises. Equipment maintenance. Equipment maintenance should be facilitated as part of a proactive preventative and reactive maintenance program. You may wish to visit the Preventative Maintenance and Reactive Maintenance section of HACCP.com for examples of best practice applications for this food safety and quality system element. Equipment, Utensils and containers. Equipment, utensils and containers other than single-use containers and packaging coming into contact with food should be designed and constructed to ensure that they can be effectively cleaned and sanitized and maintained to avoid the contamination of food. Equipment and containers should be made of materials with no toxic effect within the scope of their intended use. Utensils, equipment and containers should be durable and movable or capable of being disassembled to allow for maintenance, cleaning, disinfection, monitoring and, for example, to facilitate inspection for pests. Working surfaces that come into direct contact with food should be in sound condition, durable and easy to clean, maintain and sanitize. Working surfaces should be made of smooth, non-absorbent materials, and inert to the food, to detergents and disinfectants under normal operating conditions. All equipment associated with food production must be appropriately constructed and maintained with the food safety as the primary concern. The installation and use of such equipment also need to be addressed as food safety can be compromised through improper application. Important equipment requirements include documentation and record keeping, monitoring equipment for maintenance requirements, including the targeting of heavily worn or corroded areas, incomplete construction or cracks and pitting, cleanliness and calibration, staff training and use of specific equipment, design of equipment for intended purpose, and for effective cleaning and sanitizing. Equipment segregation to prevent contamination. Where a facility processes both raw and cooked food products, segregation of raw and cooked equipment is considered best practice to prevent equipment-related cross-contamination. Where equipment is unavoidably used for both cooked and raw foods, it must be cleaned and sanitized correctly before swapping for use between the two. Equipment should be located so that it permits adequate maintenance and cleaning, functions in accordance with its intended use, and facilitates good hygiene practices, including monitoring. If your food business supplies foodstuffs manufactured to a customer's specifications, it is important to consider any specific equipment design and construction standards development requirements in relation to their items. Document. A document provides guidance and/or direction for performing work, making decisions, or rendering judgments which affect the safety or quality of the products or services that customers receive. Documented policies, procedures, work instructions and schedules form the basis of any food safety and quality management system. The following documentation formats may be considered to ensure ongoing compliance with specified requirements for equipment design and construction standards. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Policy. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Development Procedures. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Implementation Procedures and Work Instructions. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Monitoring Procedures. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Corrective and Preventative Action Procedures. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Verification Schedule. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Verification Procedures. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Validation Schedule. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Validation Procedures. Equipment Design and Construction Standards Training Procedures. If your food business supplies foodstuffs manufactured to a customer's specifications, it is important to consider any specific equipment design and construction standards documentation requirements in relation to their items. You may wish to visit the Equipment Design and Construction Standards Templates section of HACCP.com for examples of equipment design and construction standards documentation, record and resource formats commonly applied within food safety and quality systems. Implementation. Implementation is the application of documented food safety and quality system elements into the actual business operation. The implementation of equipment design and construction standards within any food business requires genuine commitment from senior management, staff and visitors to ensure the nominated goals of implementation are achievable on an ongoing basis. It is a step which requires significant planning and consideration of general and specific food business circumstances to ensure the outcomes of equipment design and construction standards do not negatively impact upon the safety and quality of the food items dispatched from the business. Implementation of equipment design and construction standards must include the clear definition of responsibilities and authorities for all levels of participation by senior management, staff and visitors to the site. When implementing equipment design and construction standards within a food safety and quality system, you may wish to consider the following requirements prior to completion: communication and display of the equipment design and construction standards policy. Completion of verification and validation of equipment design and construction standards development procedures. Availability of equipment design and construction standards implementation procedures and work instructions. Availability of equipment design and construction standards monitoring procedures and record templates where applicable. Availability of equipment design and construction standards corrective and preventative action procedures and record templates where applicable. Availability of the equipment design and construction standards verification schedule. Availability of equipment design and construction standards verification procedures. Availability of the equipment design and construction standards validation schedule. Availability of equipment design and construction standards validation procedures. Completion of equipment design and construction standards training procedures. Completion of product design and development requirements related to premises equipment and design and construction standards. Completion of process design and development requirements related to premises equipment and design and construction standards. Completion of training for team members who have responsibilities and involvement within equipment design and construction standards. Completion of competency approval for team members who have responsibilities and involvement within equipment design and construction standards. Did you know that HACCP.com includes resources that allow you to create, manage and implement GFSI and HACCP-based food safety and quality programs? Improve your food safety and quality skills and knowledge? Train and develop your team to create better food safety and quality outcomes? Find suppliers and service providers to partner with your business. The information and training resources available through HACCP.com include a variety of formats, such as website content, MP4, MP4 and text, MP3, PDF and slideshow. Are you ready to take the next step in your food compliance journey? Visit HACCP.com today to create your profile and access the full versions of our food safety and quality information packages and much more.